When a husky refused to leave the couch and began shadowing his toddler like a silent guardian, his owner, a seasoned pediatric nurse, brushed it off as odd behavior. Hours later, that odd behavior became the only reason her son survived a terrifying midnight seizure. The husky hadn't moved from that couch in 4 hours. Not to eat, not to drink, not when the front door opened. Maya noticed at first. She was a pediatric home care nurse. 12 years reading children nobody else could read, and she knew what a dog looked like when something had shifted inside it. She'd seen it once before, a Rottweiler that stopped eating 3 days before its owner was diagnosed. She'd filed that away as coincidence. She wasn't filing this away. Kodiak was 4 years old, 85 pounds of Alaskan malamute husky. He had slept in the same corner every night since they brought him home. He had never once jumped on the furniture. He was on the couch now, and he was staring at Eli. Eli was 18 months, blue t-shirt, bare feet, standing in the middle of the living room with that expression toddlers get when something is slightly wrong, but they don't have the words for it yet. Just a look, somewhere between confused and tired. Maya put her hand on his forehead. Warm. Not alarming. Kids run warm. She knew that better than anyone. She looked at Kodiak. He hadn't blinked. Kodiak began following Eli from room to room. Not playfully, not the loose, happy trot of a dog chasing a toddler. This was something else. He walked behind Eli the way a shadow does. Close. Deliberate. His head low, his eyes tracking every movement. Maya told him to get down from the couch. He got down. He immediately repositioned himself 2 feet from Eli's legs. Her husband Daniel watched from the kitchen doorway. He's just being protective. He's never done this, she said. He's a dog. Dogs do weird things. By 7 that evening, Eli was fussier than usual. Still eating, still drinking, still recognizably himself, just a half degree off. Maya took his temperature, 99.1. She gave him a half dose of children's ibuprofen, changed him into his cotton pajamas, the soft ones with the small trucks on them, and put him down at 8. Kodiak sat outside the nursery door. He did not lie down. He sat upright facing the door and did not move. Maya stood in the hallway and looked at him for a long time. At 10:15, she made Daniel put Kodiak outside. She was a pediatric nurse. She had assessed hundreds of children. She knew the difference between a sick baby and a fussy one, and Eli was fussy. The ibuprofen would bring the number down. He would wake up fine. Daniel led Kodiak to the back door. The dog went, but at the threshold, he turned. He looked back down the hallway toward the nursery. He looked at Maya. Then the door closed. She checked the baby monitor. Eli was asleep. The room was quiet. She went to bed at 11 o'clock. At 1:47 in the morning, the baby monitor erupted, not crying. Something else, a rhythmic sound, repetitive, wrong. She was in the nursery in 8 seconds. Eli was on his back, his body moving in small, sharp contractions. His eyes were open, but he wasn't looking at anything. His lips had a color that made her stop breathing for half a second, and she had seen a lot of things in 12 years, and she stopped breathing. She shouted for Daniel. She kept Eli on his side. She called 911 at 1:40 when the seizure did not stop. The paramedics arrived at 214. His temperature by that point was 104.6. The fever had climbed silently for hours, past the threshold of the ibuprofen, past every number she had known how to read. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. At the hospital, Dr. Ranata OAE, pediatric emergency attending, 11 years at Children's Medical Center, reviewed Eli's vitals and the seizure timeline. She asked Maya when the fever had started climbing. Maya told her about the 99.1 reading at 7 p.m. Dr. Oae was quiet for a moment. Then she said, febrile seizures in this pattern typically require a sustained temperature elevation over 4 to 6 hours. That reading you took wasn't the beginning. That was already the middle. She paused. If you'd gotten here 40 minutes later, we would be having a very different conversation. On the drive home, Maya went through it piece by piece. Kodiak refusing to leave the couch. He had positioned himself at the same elevation as Eli's face, nose level. He was smelling something the moment they sat together in that living room. Kodiak following Eli from room to room. Not clinginess. He was monitoring a number that was climbing inside a body that couldn't tell anyone. Kodiak sitting upright outside the nursery door for 2 hours. He was waiting for the moment the number crossed a line only he could sense. And then they put him outside. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. The fever broke fully by the second morning. No lasting effects. Maya brought Kodiak in from the yard when they pulled into the driveway. She sat down on the floor of the living room and did not say anything. There was nothing to say that the dog needed to hear. Kodiak walked over to her. He stood next to her for a moment. Then he went to the corner where Eli was sitting and lay down across the boy's feet. He put his head on his paws. He exhaled once and then he watched the door. What story will the next dog tell before anyone thinks to listen?